All right, the time is upon us. Our 20-pound jackfruit is ready to be cut. So, from what I've learned, there is no perfect or correct way to cut a jackfruit, but we're going to give it a try today based on a couple of videos that I saw and a few different things that people did. But the one thing that I really want to talk about is how I discovered jackfruit. So I didn't really like it the first few times I had it as like a pulled pork sort of substitute, but Sylvia and I were in Vietnam. We were riding our scooter down a dirt road in the Mekong Delta, and we saw a little temple. And when we saw this temple, we thought, wow, this is beautiful, and there's no one anywhere around. Can we go in? Do you think we can go in? And we're like, well, I don't know. So we parked, we walked in, and we started to look around a little bit, and still we didn't see anyone. And then after a few minutes, we ran into a young monk who decided he was going to show us around. He spoke a little bit of English, and so we walked all around the temple grounds. He showed us the grounds, and he showed us the pagoda that was kind of the shrine to his predecessor, and then he invited us to stay for tea. And he brought out this bowl of fresh jackfruit, and I had never seen the actual fruit before. And when we tried it, it tasted like bubblegum. It completely blew my mind. We stayed there for probably 2 hours chatting with this monk and enjoying some tea, and they brought out some steamed potatoes and steamed corn. And then he called all of his friends, because Sylvie is 5'10" or 5'11" or something really tall. And the women had never seen a woman that tall before. So he called all like the village women to come and take pictures with Sylvia because she was such a giant compared to them. Anyway, to get into it a little bit more, the way you know that a jackfruit is ripe is you're going to press it a little bit and it's going to give. An unripe jackfruit is really, really firm. Also, rather than completely green, you're going to have this yellowish tint that you can see here and some brown areas on the sides. This means that it's ready to go. The other thing that's really important is you can smell it. It has a really, really distinct bubblegum smell. So, from what I've seen, there's a lot of different ways to do this, and none of them really seem like they're quite the right way. Like there's not a perfect method. But I'm going to show you what I do to process this jackfruit. And the first thing that we have to remember is this type of jackfruit, similar to figs and some other things that are in the same family, which is called an acai, broccoli patch, I remembered something, has a latex sap, and that sap will get all over everything. It's a big mess, not good. So, what we have to do is we have to cover our blade and our hands in oil, and the oil is how you remove this sap and how we keep our blade clean, so that we can get through everything. And then once we're inside, I'm going to give you a little look at all the other things that we can do with this fruit. So here we're going to get a little oil on the blade. This is going to keep all that sap from sticking so we don't ruin our knife, which belongs to the Airbnb anyway. Another thing that I learned is that we need to oil our hands, especially if we don't have gloves to wear, because some people can be allergic to latex and you can have an allergic reaction. So if you don't have latex gloves to wear, make sure you put some oil on your hands as well as the blade. Now I know this can make things a little bit slippery, but it's kind of the nature of the beast here. All right, now that my hands are really slippery, I'm going to handle something sharp. Inside here is our fruit, and we're going to cut all the way through halfway. And I've seen a lot of people have a good bit of difficulty with these, but I'm going to try to line it up in such a way that I can get through it pretty simple, and I think that this is going to be our best angle of attack. So I'm going to put my knife in here. There we go. Ooh, that's where it gets stuck. In the core. Now inside here, you're going to find some really interesting things. So right now I can feel that I'm cutting into the core. The nice thing about being left-handed is that most left-handers I know end up being kind of ambidextrous. We can switch hands when we need to, which comes in handy a lot. All right, looks like we're through this fella. Now, it's time for the great reveal. All right, there we go. This is it, and this one looks like a nice ripe one. Man, inside here, what you're gonna see is we have these little pods here, which happen to be the fruit, and this is what we really need to get to. And then you have this other fibrous material, which is actually something that's edible, but you have to cook it. And then you also have these seeds, which you can roast, and are similar to chestnuts. So I've also heard you can boil them, and then they're kind of similar to potatoes. So we're going to keep these. We're going to set these aside in a bowl over here. Once this is open like this, then you can start to cut around the core. And as you cut around the core, you're going to release the fruits, and you're going to have a lot better access to the fruit itself. Now, I have to tell you that, oh wow, there really is a lot of latex on the blade here. I have to tell you that I genuinely don't really recommend doing this without gloves, because handling something sharp with slippery hands is not a good idea. So, okay, so I've opened our core up here a little bit. You can't be shy when dealing with the jackfruit. We're just going to have to get in here and rip all these pieces apart. And actually, you can see I'm kind of putting my back into it. It takes a little bit of leverage to get in here. But now what we've done is we've revealed some of these fruits. Here's the most easily accessed one. So let me show you guys. Here we go. Look at this beauty. Oh my gosh. So this is the jackfruit fruit. We have a little bit of this fibrous material here. Like I said, you can, from what I understand, you can eat this material, but that's not really the star of the show today. The real star of the show is this guy, and we're going to pull that seed out of there. Set that aside for later, and there's our little fruit. Now, to me, I actually think that it's kind of a waste to make a jackfruit pulled pork out of it, because it's so completely delicious. Oh my God. I'm just going to pull some pieces off of here and eat it. Oh man. Oh, I love it. And this is such a juicy one. This one's really wet. The one that we tried in Vietnam was a lot more dry than this. Sylvia.
Oh my God.
See, it's amazing, right? So anyway, I'm going to keep at this, and it's going to take me a while. So we can rejoin in just a few minutes when I've had a little bit more time to separate all of this stuff. So we're finally through half of this jackfruit. That's right, half. And we have this giant bowl of beautiful bubblegum fruit. It is so good. It's so much work. It's crazy. It feels like you're like extracting alien eggs out of some like foreign substance. It doesn't feel like it's from this earth. It's so crazy. But my goodness, if you get an opportunity to dig through a jackfruit, first of all, we got this one at the Asian market for 59 cents a pound. I saw ones that weren't even ripe today at the regular grocery store for $1.50 a pound. So definitely try to get them at the Asian grocery store. But what we're really curious about right now is the fact that there's so little waste. So here's what's left, and you can eat all of this fibrous material. And that's super exciting to us because we don't really know how to prepare it. So we're actually going to turn, and we're on YouTube, and we're going to turn to YouTube to see how we prepare this fibrous material. But it really impresses me that there's so little waste in such a large fruit. Also, you can eat the seeds. And from what I understand, these seeds are, if you roast them, very similar to a chestnut, and if you boil them, very similar to a potato. So we're going to do a little bit of each and see what happens. But now, what we've got to do is we've got to get through the other half of this jackfruit. We still have another, this is what we have left. This is what we have left after all of this. So we're going to dig through this one, and then we're going to see what we can do to remove the fibrous material from this one, and that way we can try to cook it up and see what happens.